You see a dog across the street, and your hand is already reaching out before your brain even decides to move. You do not think about it. You do not plan it. It just happens. And here is what nobody tells you about that moment. That reach is not random. It is one of the oldest survival signals in your entire nervous system firing at full strength. Scientists who study ancient human behavior now believe this urge goes back millions of years before dogs even existed, before pets existed, before the word cute existed. In this video, you are going to discover 5 hidden layers inside your brain that are responsible for this ancient urge. And by the end, the next time you reach for an animal, you will know exactly what is happening inside your body at that moment. Let us start with the thing nobody questions. Why does touching an animal feel good at all? Not just nice. Physically, chemically, measurably good. The answer starts in a place most people never think about: your skin. Hidden inside your hairy skin right now are a set of nerve fibers that have no interest in sharp edges, temperature, or pressure. They only fire for one specific type of touch: slow, gentle, warm stroking. These fibers are called CT afferents, and scientists have found that they fire strongest when something moves across your skin at about 3 centimeters per second. That is roughly the speed of a relaxed, friendly stroke. Too fast and they barely respond. Too slow and the signal drops. But right in that window, that is when your brain gets the clearest possible message that something safe and bonded is touching you. And here is the part that matters for this video. These fibers are not a modern human invention. They are ancient. Every mammal with fur has a version of this system. They evolved hundreds of millions of years ago in the first mammals because parent-offspring touch was a survival mechanism. A mother holding her young, keeping it warm, keeping it calm, lowering its stress hormones, building its immune response. That slow, gentle touch was not affection as a bonus. It was biology as a necessity. And you still carry that system inside you, fully intact, responding to the same input it was built for. When you stroke a dog or run your hand through a cat's fur at that same slow pace, those ancient fibers fire in the exact pattern your nervous system was built to find calming. That is why it feels like something more than just sensation. Because it is. But that is only the first layer. There is a second system underneath it that goes even deeper into your past. Before humans existed, your ancestors were primates. And primates had a problem. Living in large social groups, the kind that offer protection, shared food, and help raising young, requires constantly maintaining trust with every individual in that group. You need your allies to remember you, feel warmly toward you, and be willing to help you when things go wrong. But how do you maintain that many relationships without language, without money, without social media? The answer that primates evolved was physical touch. Grooming. Sitting with a group member and slowly, carefully moving through their fur, removing debris, working through knots, providing that same CT afferent activating gentle contact we just talked about. But here is what researchers discovered that changed how we understand grooming entirely. The primary function of grooming in primates is not cleaning. It is social bonding. Robin Dunbar, one of the leading researchers on primate social behavior, found that grooming predicts relationship strength and group cohesion far better than any other behavior. It is a social technology, a way of saying, through touch, that you are trusted, that you are valued, that you belong here. Some old world primates devote up to about 20% of their entire waking day to social grooming. Think about that. 1/5 of every day just touching each other. That is not hygiene. That is the ancient version of maintaining an entire social network with your hands. And the chemistry behind it is just as powerful as the behavior. Studies in wild chimpanzees found that urinary oxytocin, the bonding hormone, rose after grooming, but only when the animals groomed their actual bond partners. Grooming a stranger did not produce the same rise. The chemistry tracked relationship quality, not just physical contact. Researchers also found that blocking opioid receptors with a drug in talapoin monkeys dramatically increased grooming solicitation. When they could not get the endorphin reward from grooming, they wanted more of it. Which means primate grooming is not just habit. It is a mild, socially available, evolutionarily ancient form of neurochemical reward. And that is the system you are running when your hand moves toward a soft animal without your permission. Your grooming circuits are activating. They are not confused. They are doing exactly what they evolved to do. They are looking for a bonding signal. Now, here's where the story takes a turn that most people do not expect. Grooming works for small groups, but early human groups started getting bigger, much bigger. And Dunbar's research identified a serious problem with scaling touch-based bonding to larger social groups. There are only so many hours in a day. If you need to groom every alliance partner to maintain the bond, and your group has grown from 20 individuals to 100, the maths simply do not work. You cannot physically touch everyone enough to keep the relationships functioning. So early humans appear to have evolved something extraordinary. Ways of triggering the same neurochemical rewards of grooming without direct physical contact. Laughter, music, synchronized movement, storytelling around a fire. Dunbar calls this grooming at a distance. These are social technologies that release the same endorphins as physical touch, but can work on a whole group at once. This is why singing together feels bonding even with strangers. Why dancing with a group feels socially meaningful even without conversation. Your brain is running ancient grooming chemistry through a new delivery system. And when you reach out to pet an animal, you are reaching back toward the original delivery system. The one that started this whole chain. The direct, slow, skin-to-fur version of connection that your nervous system spent millions of years being built around. But there is a third layer to this, and it is the most surprising one. It has nothing to do with grooming or bonding chemistry. It has to do with something that would have been a matter of life and death for your ancient ancestors. Babies. Specifically, recognizing them, protecting them, and feeling an overwhelming pull toward their care. In the 1940s, a biologist named Konrad Lorenz noticed that certain physical features across many species reliably triggered caregiving responses in adults. Large round head relative to body size. Big eyes set low on a wide face. Small nose. Short chin. Soft, rounded body shape. He called this combination baby schema. And decades of research since have confirmed that these features are not just noticed. They actively recruit human caregiving systems at a neurological level. In one experiment, researchers took real photographs of human infants and digitally adjusted how much or how little baby schema each face displayed. The results were statistically enormous. High baby schema faces were rated significantly cuter and triggered significantly stronger caregiving motivation than low schema faces. The effect was so strong it crossed species lines. Children between 3 and 6 years old already showed stronger attention and stronger cuteness ratings toward dogs and cats with infantile facial features compared to the same species with more adult-like faces. 3-year-olds. The bias was already there before most modern experiences with pets could have shaped it. And in that child study, researchers tracked exactly where small children looked on animal faces. About 47% of viewing time went to the eyes. High infantile faces drew longer eye contact than low infantile faces. Your attention system was literally redirected by the presence of those features. Now think about which animals humans most reliably want to pet. Puppies over adult dogs. Kittens over adult cats. Baby animals of almost every kind. Animals with large eyes, round faces, short snouts, and soft fur. That is not coincidence. That is the baby schema system running exactly as designed, just aimed at a target that was not around when the system evolved. The animal's face passes a biological checkpoint your brain uses to identify vulnerable young, and the care response triggers automatically. You did not choose it. Your ancestors who had the sharpest version of this response raised more surviving children. You inherited their circuits. And now those circuits fire every time you see a golden retriever puppy. But the story does not stop with babies and grooming. Because something happened in the last 15,000 years or so that changed the relationship between humans and animals forever. And there is evidence it started not with wolves cautiously approaching a campfire, but with a human child picking up a wolf pup and carrying it home. Researchers studying how dogs were domesticated have increasingly moved toward what is called the human-initiated model. The idea is not that wolves slowly habituated to human presence over generations. The idea is that early humans, especially children and young adults, actively captured wolf pups and began raising them by hand. The evidence for this comes partly from ethnographic records of Aboriginal Australian communities and their relationship with dingo pups. Documented accounts describe camp dingoes that were taken as pups and raised with what researchers describe as loving care and affection, including continuous petting and pampering. Females breastfed pre-weaned pups. Pups were carried alongside human infants. Adults petted them, groomed them, and classified them as kin. This is not a modern behavior. This is an ancient human instinct. The grooming system, the baby schema system, the care system, all latching onto a juvenile animal with infantile features and treating it as part of the family. And over thousands of years of this, something extraordinary happened. The animals that survived in human camps were not the most aggressive or the most independent. They were the ones who sought human contact. The ones who could hold eye contact. The ones who tolerated touch, solicited affection, and who had faces that passed the baby schema checkpoint most reliably. The Russian fox domestication experiment showed exactly how fast this can happen. Researchers selectively bred foxes purely for one trait: reduced fear and aggression toward humans. Within 2 to 3 generations, most of the aggressive and fearful responses were gone. By the 6th generation, some pups were already wagging their tails at humans, whining for contact, and licking faces in dog-like ways. By generation 30, nearly half the population was actively seeking human attention and touch. The human bonding system and the animal selection process were shaping each other simultaneously. And the endpoint of that process was the dog. An animal that did something no other species had managed. It evolved to hack directly into the human parent-infant bonding system through mutual gaze. In a landmark study published in Science, researchers found that when dogs and their owners gazed into each other's eyes, both experienced a rise in urinary oxytocin. Not just the human. The dog too. The same reciprocal oxytocin loop that forms between human mothers and their infants. And when researchers tried the same experiment with hand-raised wolves, wolves that had been around humans their whole lives, the loop did not activate. Wolves do not hold eye contact with humans the way dogs do. They were not selected for it. Dogs were. Over 15,000 years or more of living alongside humans, dogs evolved a specific neurological and behavioral bridge directly into the part of the human brain designed for the most powerful bond a human can form. That is why meeting a dog can feel like meeting a friend you already know. Your brain is not confused. It is responding to genuine social signals that your bonding system was built to respond to. Now, there is one more thing that happens when you see something extremely cute, and this is the part of the science that surprises almost everyone. Sometimes the urge to pet something is not just warmth. Sometimes it is overwhelming. You see a puppy, and you do not just want to gently stroke it. You want to squeeze it. You want to scrunch your face and make a noise that does not fit any adult vocabulary. You feel something that functions almost like aggression, except you are also completely delighted. This is called cute aggression, and it has been studied in laboratory conditions with brain imaging. In an ERP study, which measures electrical brain activity in real time, researchers found that when people were exposed to very cute animal images, cute aggression responses were linked to reward processing and emotional salience networks in the brain. Not to anger. Not to hostility. To the reward system. And the more overwhelmed participants felt by the cuteness of the animal, the stronger the cute aggression response was. The research team found a specific chain of responses. Cute image triggers reward signal. Reward signal triggers caregiving feeling. Caregiving feeling becomes overwhelming. Overwhelming feeling produces cute aggression as a release valve. The leading explanation is not that people secretly want to harm cute things. It is that the caregiving response is so powerful when it fires at full strength that the nervous system needs a way to release some of the pressure so the actual caregiving can continue. In other words, the urge to squeeze something adorable may be your body keeping itself functional in the face of an extremely strong ancient signal. Your care circuits are not malfunctioning. They are doing their job too well. And the same baby schema system that produces this response can be triggered by things that are not alive at all. In a product design study, researchers found that car fronts with baby schema-style features, large round headlights, short bonnet, high cab, produce significantly stronger positive effect than the same car design without those features. Not just slightly better. Statistically significant. And the response held up across repeated exposures. It did not fade. People liked baby-faced cars more, kept liking them more, and could not turn the response off. The same circuits that send your hand toward a puppy can be activated by headlights and body curves, which tells you something important about where this system lives. It is not in your reasoning brain. It is somewhere older and faster than that. Something that evaluates the visual pattern and fires the response before your conscious mind has even registered what you are looking at. And now here is what all of this means together. Your urge to pet things is not one single instinct. It is a stack of ancient systems all responding to the same input at the same time. Your CT afferents, tuned to slow, gentle touch, inherited from the first mammals that held their young. Your primate grooming circuits, built to maintain social bonds through physical contact, still firing when you stroke a warm animal body. Your baby schema system, trained over millions of years to detect and care for vulnerable young, responding to every round face and large eye it encounters regardless of species. Your oxytocin and endorphin reward systems, shaped by tens of thousands of years of living alongside animals that evolved to activate them specifically. And your cute aggression system, doing its ancient job of regulating the overflow when all of the above systems fire at once. When you reach toward a dog in the street without thinking, every single one of those systems is active simultaneously. That reach is not a personality quirk. It is the output of millions of years of evolution doing exactly what it was built to do. Hunter-gatherer infants in 8 communities reportedly spent about 93% of daylight hours in direct physical contact with a parent. 93%. Modern life has pushed human physical contact to levels that would be completely unrecognizable to your ancestors. What you feel toward a soft animal is, in part, ancient touch hunger, finding the closest available outlet for the contact your nervous system was designed to receive every single day. This is not something wrong with you. It is something right about you, in the deepest evolutionary sense of the word right. And here's the last thing worth sitting with. These animals did not just happen to match our ancient circuits by accident. The ones that survived alongside us were selected by our circuits. We kept the ones that felt safe to touch. The ones with faces that looked familiar to our caregiving systems. The ones that held our gaze and made the bond chemistry work. We shaped them. And they shaped us. 15,000 years of coevolution running in both directions simultaneously until a dog can look up at you and your brain releases the same chemistry it reserves for the people you love most. That is the hidden survival secret inside the urge to pet everything. Not just instinct. Not just habit. A relationship between your species and theirs that rewired both of you, one generation at a time, across a timeline that makes your entire recorded history look like a single afternoon. If you want to understand the next piece of this, what happens to the human brain when that ancient bond is suddenly gone, and why losing a pet can feel like losing a person, that is what the next video covers. Click it now, because the neuroscience of grief and animal bonds is one of the most misunderstood areas of human psychology, and the answer will change how you think about every animal relationship you have ever had.